Alrighty, how's it going, y'all? So we finally have all 80 cards for Nullifying Order. Sorry, Nullifying Zero. It's gone through so many name changes, and I'm mixing it up with Perfect Order. I think it was Muniki Zero, and then Nihil Zero, and now it's Nullifying Zero. So it'd be funny if it changes one more time. But regardless, we have all the cards for the January Japanese set. Let's go over it. We have a ton of crazy, crazy powerful cards, and a few I'm actually really scared of it. We don't have many of the IRs or SIRs, but we do have these three. We have the Clefairy, which is super cool. Love that one. It'll probably be one of my chases. And then we have the Esper and Talonflame right here. The Talonflame is it's all right, but the Clefairy is super cool. So I'm not going to go through every single card. I have a tendency to ramble on in these kind of videos. So we're just going to hit the high points and talk about the important cards that will probably be making an appearance in some people's decks. So first up is this Shaman. We have a 70 HP basic, and we've seen a lot of grass Pokemon make an appearance in the Mega Evolution era, with the Mega Venusaur deck and Megadium deck being very popular. We'll probably continue to see these grass-based decks, but Shaman has a move, Flower Delivery. Search your deck for one energy and attach it to one of your bench grass Pokemon, then shuffle your deck. Next up, we have the Superior Evolution line with Snivy, Servine, and Superior. Superior looks like it'll be a holo rare. Love the artwork on that. The bulk artwork for the recent sets have been top notch. The floor for becoming a Pokemon artist is so high now, and we're getting some really, really cool art. But Superior has a move for one grass energy. Royal Command does 20 times damage. This attack does 20 damage for each Pokemon you have in play. So unless you have Area Zero Under Depth, this move will probably cap out at 100 damage. And then for 3 grass energies, you have Solar Winder for 100 plus damage. If you have any Rosa's Encouragement in your discard pile, this attack does 150 more damage. So 250 damage, that's pretty good. It reminds me of the Typhlosion decks from Destined Rivals. If you have an Ethan's Adventure, in the discard pile, it does more damage. It's similar with Rosa's Encouragement. Next up is this Spupa. Now, I really wish they would have put it in the museum, like that mission in Legend ZA where you find the Spupa in the museum. I think it's a layup for the artwork. They missed the mark on this artwork. But Spupa will be needed to evolve into Vivillon, which is the first crazy broken card I have seen. So let me zoom in on the art so you can see it. It's really a beautiful piece. But as you know, Iono is going to be rotated out when Perfect Order comes out in English, or a few weeks after that. I think it's like April, the second week of April or something. But Vivillon has an ability, Big Wings, which it's a little bit crazy. Once during your turn, you may have your opponent shuffle their hand and put all those cards at the bottom of their deck. Then your opponent draws 4 cards. So you can basically free Iono with this ability every single turn. 4 cards is not a lot if you can continue to reset your opponent's hand. It can get super, super annoying. So we got Rowlet, Dartrix, and Decidueye. Decidueye is the one I want to talk about. It's an EX, so a 2 prizer, not a mega and 3 prizes. Here's the art, super cool. But its move, Sniper Eye. If your opponent has exactly 4 cards in their hand, ignore all colorless in this Pokemon's attack cost. So that means this move, which normally costs 4 energies, only costs 1 grass now. So for Crush Arrow, you have 240 damage, which is a lot for 1 energy. But you also discard an energy from your your opponent's active Pokemon. So not only is it a lot of damage and a disruption from the Vivillon, it's also a disruption from the energy on your opponent's active Pokemon. Next up, we have Fletchinder and Talonflame, and Talonflame will pause on because look, it's a Shinji Kanda artwork. Can you imagine if we got this as an IR? Man, Shinji Kanda's. I'm really glad he's doing bulk art now, because they're cheaper to get, obviously. All of his IRs and SIRs are crazy expensive. But it has an ability. Once during your turn, you may flip a coin. If heads, your opponent discards a random card from their hand. Next up, we have another line into an EX. We have Salandit and Salazzle, which is the EX. I'll zoom in on the art so you can see it. Typical EX artwork. But it's got a move, Nasty Plot. Search your deck for up to 2 cards and put them into your hand, then shuffle your deck. And for 2 fires, it threw me off for a second. I said R. I was looking for F. Fire. Fatal Nail, 100 damage. Your opponent's active Pokemon is now poisoned and burned. Switch this Pokemon with one of your bench. So you could really do some effects on your Pokemon, and then retreat. Keep your Salazzle safe. This could be popular. We'll see. It's interesting. Always interesting to see status condition cards. Next up, we got Turtonator with Thorny Shell, and when this Pokemon takes damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon while it's in the active spot, discard an energy from that attacking Pokemon. I'm noticing in the set there's a lot of energy mitigation attacks and abilities. So like discarding energies, putting them in the back in your hand, a lot of just like moving around with energies of different types. So I wonder if we'll see that in the meta or if it's just kind of be centralized to this set. Next up, we got Seal into Dugong. Gradion will be happy about that. Let me just zoom in. It is a very, very cool artwork. It looks like it'll be a holo rare. And can I just say, I am so thankful that they are continuing to have the Pokemon number right below the art. It makes it super easy when organizing my Pokedex binder, having the Pokemon number right on the card. I know they've done that for a while, and I just hope they continue doing that forever. Dugong, speaking of energy mitigation, wash out. As long as you like during your turn, you may move a water energy from your bench Pokemon to your active Pokemon. And then we got Staryu into a Mega Evolution Pokemon. I love that Mega Starmie is coming to the TCG, which means we'll get a Mega Starmie SIR. It's just such a goofy design. I love it. It's really grown on me, but Mega Starmie will be a snipe Pokemon. So for 1 water energy, you have Jet Blow, 120 damage. This attack does 50 damage to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. And then for 3 colorless, you have Nebula Beam for 210 damage. And this attack's damage isn't affected by weakness, resistance, or any effects of your opponent's active Pokemon. Now we're getting into our first fossil, and I love that Aurorus and Tyrantrum are getting cards in here. I hope they get IRs. Look at that art. It is so, so cool. But let's take a look at its ability, Tundra Wall. While this Pokemon is in play, all of your Pokemon that have water energy attached takes 50 less damage. And then 150 damage during your opponent's next turn. The defending Pokemon can't attack. Very cool. Next up is a silly one. It's Volcanion as a water type. I guess maybe because the steam is technically water. I didn't know Volcanion was a water type. Is there something in the lore I'm missing? But it caught me off guard to see that. But for powerful steam, 90x damage, flip a coin for each water energy attached to this Pokemon, and this attack does 90 damage for each heads. So you can really load it up with what was it? Yeah, Aurorus's ability where you can move water energy to the attacking Pokemon. So you can really move them to Volcanion. Pretty strong. Now we're getting into the lightning. We got Shinx all the way to Luxray, and Luxio has an ability where if you play it, you can evolve into Luxray. So you basically skip the stage 1, kind of like Forest of Vitality, and go straight to Luxray. So for 70x damage, this attack does 70 damage for each prize card you have taken. Pretty cool late game Pokemon. And then 200 damage, discard 2 energy from this Pokemon. Our final electric, we don't have many in this set, is Dedenne. Or Dedenne. Sorry, I say that wrong every time and I'll never get it right. 1 lightning. For each energy attached to all of your opponent's Pokemon, you may attach a basic lightning energy from your discard pile to one of your lightning Pokemon in any way you like. Pretty cool. Next up, we have our next line into a Mega. We have Clefairy, which evolves into Mega Clefable EX. Let me zoom in so you can see it real quick. Very, very cool. Its ability, Wings of Light, prevent all effects of your opponent's abilities done to this Pokemon. That'd be crazy if it was damage. But for 2 Psychic, you have Shooting Moon. I keep wanting to say Full Moon Rondo, but that's Clefairy. 120 plus damage. You may discard up to 4 energies from your hand. If you do, this attack does 40 damage for each energy or card you discarded in this way. But not too many psychics of note, so I'll skip to Aromatisse, which has an ability, Fragrance Collection. Once during your turn, you may search your deck for up to 2 psychic energies, reveal them, put them into your hand. So that's good to load up the Clefable. Moving on down to the fighting types, which is the main powerhouse of this set with Zygarde. But we have a mill with Hippowdon for 2 fighting, 1 colorless. You have Tornado Drill, 80 damage. And if you played a Tarragon from your hand during this turn, discard the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. So a very expensive mill deck, but a mill deck nonetheless. Hold on, what is happening? Hippo, po, toss. Is that like an inside joke I'm missing? Next up, we have Barbaracle, which has an ability that allows you to attach a basic fighting energy from your hand to one of your fighting Pokemon. So you basically get the energy from the turn and then an energy from the ability, so 2 energies per turn. Next up is the second fossil, Tyrantrum, which is actually pretty strong, and I may make a Tyrantrum deck just to see how it does. So its ability, Tyranno Guts. If this a Pokemon has any special energy attached, it gets 150 HP plus. So that's a lot. That's a lot of energy. And then its move for one fighting and one colorless, wreak havoc, 160 damage, flip a coin until you get tails. For each heads, discard the top card of your opponent's deck. So it's a mill with a lot of damage and a lot of HP. I think this card is super cool, and I want to build a Tyrantrum deck. Now, the poster of the set, Mega Zygarde EX. Super cool artwork. Very excited to see the SIR when it comes out. It's very expensive to play, but there's a lot of support for fighting type energies to hopefully load him up faster. So for 3 fighting energies, you have Gaia Wave for 200 damage. During your opponent's next turn, this Pokemon takes 30 less damage. And then for 5 fighting energy, for each of your opponent's Pokemon, flip a coin. If heads, this attack does 150 damage to that Pokemon, which is crazy because you can wipe out a lot of low HP Pokemon in one turn. You could potentially get upwards of, you could potentially max out 6 prizes in one turn, but the odds are very much against your favor in that regard. But wow, that's fun. Next up, I briefly want to talk about Gengar. There's not really much going on with this Pokemon. If it's knocked out from an attack, you instead of discard it, you just put it back in your hand. I don't see the point of that, making it worth putting it in your deck. But the fact there is a Gengar card in here, we could be getting a Gengar IR, which would be cool. There's speculation, but nothing confirmed at that point. Also, the art, man, look at that. That's cool. The next dark type is Evital EX, which is pretty cool. It's got a lot of potential. So for 2 darkness and 1 colorless, Death Soul, knock out each of your opponent's Pokemon that has 50 HP or less. And then for the same amount, Dark Strike, 210 damage. During your next turn, this Pokemon can't use Dark Strike. So very, very small chance that it could work out in application, but in theory, it seems kind of cool, especially maybe early game. If you can load him up early game, you can really overwhelm your opponent before they can properly set up. Next up is Chien Pao. Not really much going on with the move, but I do want to pause on it because I think it's cool. We're getting a dark type Chien Pao. That is super cool. The artwork is cool. I don't know what medium. It kind of looks like oil painting, but love that. That's cool. A dark type Chien Pao. Next up is the Steel, and Steel goes hard in this set. There's some pretty good cards. So Mega Skarmory, 2 metal, 1 colorless Sonic Ripper. It's basically a snipe for 220 damage. So pretty good snipe, but it's a very, very low HP Mega, which is concerning. You definitely want to load it up with something that gives it more HP. And then we have the Aegislash line with Hone Edge, Doublade. I've never really known how to pronounce that. But for 2 colorless, Sword Slash, 60x damage. You may reveal any number of Hone Edge, Doublade, or Aegislash from your hand and stack to 60 damage for each card you revealed. That's pretty cool. That has a lot of potential. It reminds me of a Rotom deck. However, I don't know if Relicanth is rotating out. If Relicanth is still in rotation, this is a lot better than if it's not in rotation, because then you could evolve it into Aegislash and then still use its move. But I'll have to check on that to see if it's in rotation or not. Next up, we got Klefki, which is a good shutdown Pokemon. So for 1 metal, you have Memory Lock at 30 damage. Choose an attack of your opponent's active Pokemon. During your opponent's next turn, the defending Pokemon can't use that attack. So that's good in an emergency. If your opponent's using something that's really overwhelming you, maybe you could use that. But I think something that sounds better on paper than is actually good in application. So moving on to probably the most important, I've got something in my eye. The most important card in this set is the Meowth EX. So it's basically Lumineon V reimagined as Meowth. So its ability, Last Ditch Catch. Once during your turn, if you play this Pokemon from your hand onto your bench, you may use this ability, search your deck for a supporter card, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. You can't use more than one. So I think this will win a lot of games if you can use Last Ditch Catch. Wait, I thought it was called Trump Card Catch. Did they change it? I could have sworn it was called Trump Card Catch. Anyways, and then for 3 colorless, you have Tuck Tail, which is funny, especially given its ability. For 60 damage, put this Pokemon and all attached cards into your hand. So you just like, boom, put it back on the bench and reuse the ability. So funny. And that's about it for the colorless. So let's get into the trainers. We got a lot of new ones, a lot of good ones to replace the ones rotating out, like Nest Ball. I'm going to blank on every single one, but you know what I mean. We got first one, Energy Swatter. Your opponent reveals their hand, choose an energy card you find there, and put it into the bottom of their deck. And then, of course, we got the 2 fossils for Tyrantrum and Aurorus. And then moving into Pokepad, which I think will be very, very popular, especially with Nest Ball getting out of rotation. So search your deck for a Pokemon that doesn't have a rule box, reveal it, and put it into your hand, then shuffle your deck. So a rule box is like an EX, Mega, anything that says, if this is knocked out, take 2 or 3 prizes. That's a rule box. But next up, we got Core Memory, which is good for Mega Zygarde. And so if you attach it to a Mega Zygarde, you can use this attack. So it's basically a TM that you attach to your Mega Zygarde, and it can do 350 damage for 4 fighting energy, but you discard all the energy from this Pokemon. Next up, we have Terragon, which if you remember that one Pokemon, I cannot remember which one it was, but it said if you use Terragon, you can do more damage. So Terragon is the supporter. Put 4 of any combination fighting or basic fight energy from your discard pile to your hand. Oh man. I've been talking for 30 minutes. I'm starting to yawn. I'm tired. Next up is a Professor Research alteration. So discard any number of cards from your hand, then draw until you have 5 cards in your hand. So it's good because it's like a Lily's or a Professor's Research, but you get to keep which cards you want. A lot of the times there's like, oh man, I really need this card, so I don't want to use Professor. Well, you can use Naveen, so you can discard the cards you don't need and draw until you have 5. Next up, Rosa's Encouragement, which also had a Pokemon that said if you use that, something happened. I can't remember. But you can only use this card if you have more prizes remaining than your opponent. Attach up to 2 basic energies from your discard pile to one of your stage 2 Pokemon. That is very, very specific, and I don't see me using that. Next up, we have Lumio City, which is a replacement for Artisan, except so much worse. So once during each player's turn, that player may search their deck for a basic Pokemon and put it onto their bench. However, if you use this card, your turn ends. So, I don't know. And then we're getting 3 new special energies. And I love it kind of reminds me of the special energies from, was it Sword and Shield that kind of looked like this? Where it was like very large and in charge on the canvas. Also, they're hollow. They're hollow rare. That's interesting. So the grass one, this card provides grass energy while this card is attached to this Pokemon. The grass Pokemon this card is attached to gets plus 20 HP. Lame. Next up, we got Psychics, Telepath Energy. This card provides psychic energy while it's attached to a Pokemon, and when you attach this card from your hand to one of your psychic Pokemon, you may search your deck for 2 psychic Pokemon and put them onto your bench. So that one's way better than the grass one. And then the final one is the fighting one, the rock fighting energy. So prevent all effects of attacks used by your opponent's Pokemon done to your fighting Pokemon this card is attached to. So that's all the cards coming to Nullifying Zero, Nihil Zero, Muniki Zero, whatever it's called, but the Japanese set coming out this month. So I'm excited for it. A lot of these cards will come to English or a perfect order in March. Let me know, what are you most excited for? What are you thinking about building a deck for? If there is anything I missed, like a strategy, let me know in the comments. But thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.